Brad Tavares and Dricus du Plessis in the middleweight division. Anyone in the comments correct me if I'm saying that name incorrectly, but Dricus, 28 and a half years old. He's the same height as Brad Tavares, and he's lengthier than Brad Tavares. Now, let's talk advantages and disadvantages. Brad Tavares has the volume advantage. He has the experience advantage. He's fought in the UFC for a while, going the distance so many times. So I would also venture to say Brad Tavares, cardio advantage. Dricus du Plessis, power advantage. Dricus du Plessis, jiu-jitsu advantage. Brad Tavares, wrestling and takedown defense advantage right there. So you can clearly see with the advantages for both guys, you can clearly see what the game plan is going to be here. Tavares, with his experience in the UFC, with a lot of fights going to decision, with his cardio advantage, he clearly is going to be wanting to use that takedown defense, keep the fight on the feet, at range, stay away from the power advantage that Dricus will have in the fight, stay away from the submission game, the jiu-jitsu that Dricus du Plessis is going to have in the fight, and just point strike Dricus on the feet, outbox him for 3 straight rounds, and win a decision. That is what Brad Tavares wants to do. That's clearly what he's going to want to do in the fight, and that could very well happen. I don't even remember the last time Tavares has went out there and got a finish. Krzysztof Jotko was it 4 years ago. Before that, all decisions. Dricus is a very, very good fighter, and he's not a guy that gets finished often. In his career, Brad Tavares is not a guy that finishes guys often, but Dricus, the only ways you're really gonna beat him is if you finish him. He lost by 3rd round knockout to Roberto Salidic, lost by guillotine against Gareth McLennan. The only way you're gonna beat a guy like this is to submit him in the 3rd round or to knock him out in the 3rd round, and that's the main way you're gonna beat him. Is gonna be later on in the fight, where Brad Tavares is gonna have the advantage because he has the cardio, he has the experience advantage in the UFC, and the fact that Dricus, his only 2 losses come in the 3rd round by knockout and by submission, that clearly favors Brad Tavares later on in the fight. But let's talk earlier on in the fight. Clearly, Dricus is going to have the advantage. He's so much more powerful. He's got the speed. He puts on the pressure, and he's going to land some really good shots early on in the fight. So 1st round, I clearly have going Dricus du Plessis. 3rd round, I'm clearly going Brad Tavares to win the fight in that 3rd round. 2nd round is where it comes very interesting, because I think the 2nd round is still going to be spent in the striking. I still think that's what's going to happen, and it's tough because it all, in my opinion, comes down to who is going to win that 2nd round. Does Dricus had the experience enough to preserve the energy in the 1st round, win that 1st round, and still having enough energy to win the 2nd round and survive the 3rd round and win the fight? Because that would be the game plan of Dricus. In my opinion, that would be the game plan I would choose for him. Not to go out there, go for broke, and try to finish Brad Tavares because he's going to get gassed, and he's going to get finished later on like he did in his only 2 losses. That's the game plan. We have 2 game plans for both guys. Dricus needs to preserve the energy in that 1st round. Enough energy to where he wins that 1st round, and he has enough energy to go out there, put it all on the line in the 2nd round. Not enough energy in that 2nd round so he can survive the 3rd round. If you understand that, make sure to like the video. But that's the game plan for Dricus. Win the 1st round, win the 2nd round, and survive the 3rd round. Win by a 29-28 decision. That would be my game plan. But he's got finishing ability. There's no counting out a Dricus du Plessis knockout. There's no counting out a Dricus du Plessis guillotine. There's no counting out any of that because he is a finisher. Every single win. I think literally all 16 have been a finish. 9 submissions and 7 knockout wins. So it's tough. I can totally see this fight being a finish for Dricus. For sure. Dricus is a finisher by all means. For sure. 80% going du Plessis by knockout. But I think this is going to be that tough test. Before this, Trevin Giles and then Marcus Perez, those aren't really tough tests. Brad Tavares is a legit test in this UFC middleweight division. You usually have that one fight go the distance to really solidify your name in the rankings. This is Dricus' fight. This is that step up in competition, fighting a guy that's fought the who's who of the middleweight division: Adesanya, Edmund Shabazian, Omar Akhmedov, Antonio Carlos Jr., Krzysztof Jotko, all these guys. Not to mention the laundry list of other guys he's fought. This is that clear step up for Dricus. I don't think he has to finish, but I do think he wins the 1st round, and I do think he wins the 2nd round. Loses the final round just a little bit and wins the fight by a 29-28 decision. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, put your predictions down below for Brad and Dricus. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Let's go.